I'm 90 years old. 90. Funny number. When you're young, 90 sounds impossible. Now it just sounds tired. I've been living in this room so long that even the walls feel like they know me. Room 18, second floor, end of the hallway, window facing the parking lot, same cars, same cracked pavement, same silence. Every morning at 6:10, the same blue pickup pulls in. Every night, the same streetlight flickers like it's about to give up. Guess it's not the only one. My name's Frank, and according to my kids, I'm the old man who lost his mind. That's what they tell people. Dad got confused. Dad got scammed. Dad can't handle money anymore. So now I'm here. Meals on a tray, pills in little paper cups, someone knocking before they come in like I'm already halfway gone. But here's the thing. I didn't lose anything. Not a single dollar. I knew exactly where every cent went, every check, every withdrawal, every signature. I remember it clearer than what I had for breakfast this morning. And the person I spent it on? He's the reason I'm sitting in this room. Funny how that works, huh? You save someone's life, and you end up disappearing from your own. I married my wife Helen back in 1963. She was 19, I was 23. Kids ourselves. Didn't know a thing about marriage. Didn't know a thing about money either. All we had was a rented apartment above a hardware store in Cleveland. One tiny window. Radiator that only worked when it felt like it. Clank, clank, all night long. In the winter, we could see our breath in the kitchen. In the summer, the place smelled like hot dust and paint thinner. But we were happy. God, we were happy. You don't realize you're in the good days while you're in them. You only see it later. I worked construction. 38 years. Concrete, scaffolding, steel beams. My hands always cut up, always sore. Came home every night smelling like sweat and cement. The kind of job that steals a little piece of your body each year. Bad knee by 40, back problems by 50, couldn't fully close my right hand by 60. But it paid steady, and steady was enough. Helen and I had a rule. We made it the week we got married. Every paycheck, we saved something. Didn't matter if it was $5, didn't matter if we had to skip going out, something went into savings. Always. No excuses. We'd sit at that tiny kitchen table Sunday nights, counting bills like it was a ritual. 10 for groceries, 5 for gas, and 5 for the future. We called it future money, like it was this magical place we'd reach someday. We raised 3 kids in a little house I bought in '72. Nothing fancy. 1 bathroom, thin walls, always loud, always messy, always alive. Bike parts in the yard, cereal spilled on the counter, cartoons too loud at 6 a.m. I'd come home tired, sometimes grumpy. I wasn't a perfect father. Missed a few games, fell asleep in my chair more nights than I'd like to admit. But I was there. Every dinner, every Christmas morning, every birthday candle. I was there. And Helen, she held everything together. By the time we hit our late 70s, after decades of brown bag lunches, second-hand furniture, saying, "We can't afford that," more times than I can count, we had saved almost $280,000. That money wasn't just money. It was our whole life in a number. Our safety, our dignity, proof we did something right. Proof we wouldn't be a burden to anybody. Funny word, burden. Didn't know back then how important that word would become. Then one night, the phone rang. 11:47 p.m. And nothing good ever happens at 11:47 p.m. That call changed everything. The phone rang at 11:47 p.m. Not the polite kind of ring either, the sharp kind, the kind that cuts through the house. Helen was already asleep on the couch with the TV still on low, some late-night game show flickering across her face. I remember staring at the phone for a second. You ever notice how bad news always waits until it's dark? I picked up. Hello? All I heard was breathing. Then, Dad. It was my youngest son, Michael, and he was crying. I hadn't heard Michael cry since he was about 7 years old, back when he scraped his knee falling off a bike. But this wasn't that kind of crying. This was broken, panicked, like the world had ended. Dad, I messed up. My stomach dropped. Right there. Instant. What happened, son? He said one word. Ethan. My grandson. Ethan was 23. Smart kid, funny, always making stupid jokes at Thanksgiving. Used to call me Old Man Frank just to mess with me. He'd sit next to me during football games and steal fries off my plate. That kid. That boy. Michael said Ethan had gotten mixed up with the wrong people. Bad crowd. Easy money. Drugs. Not using. Selling. Trying to pay off some debt he shouldn't have owed in the first place. And now? He'd been arrested. Federal charges. Distribution. Mandatory minimums. Michael said the words like they were knives. Dad, they're talking 10 years. Maybe more. 10 years. I did the math in my head. He'd come out in his 30s. Life already stamped ex-con. Doors closed before he even knocked. I've worked construction my whole life. I've seen guys with records. Nobody hires them. Nobody trusts them. One mistake, and the world decides who you are forever. Michael said he found a lawyer. A real one. Not a public defender. Someone who could negotiate. Someone expensive. Retainer alone, $75,000. Full case? Maybe $200,000. Maybe more. Then he said it. Dad, I don't have it. I don't know what to do. I looked across the room. Helen was still asleep. TV flickering blue light. Our little house quiet. And all I could think about was Ethan at 6 years old, sitting on my shoulders at the county fair, holding my ears like handlebars, laughing like nothing bad could ever touch him. Faster, Grandpa, faster! Michael whispered. Dad, can you help us? Help us. Such small words, but heavy. So heavy. I thought about 40 years of saving, every skipped vacation, every old truck I kept repairing instead of replacing. Every time Helen said, we don't need it. All of that sitting in one bank account. Our future, our safety, our don't ever depend on anyone money. And then I pictured my grandson in a cell, cold metal bed, 23 years old, life over before it even started. I didn't even ask Helen. I already knew her answer. But I woke her anyway. She listened, quiet, hands folded. Then she looked at me and said, Frank, he's our boy. Money's just money. God, that woman was stronger than me. Always was. She squeezed my hand and said, save him. No hesitation, no fear, just love. So I did. Next morning I went to the bank, hands shaking a little. Not from doubt, from age. I wired the first payment, then another, then another. Lawyers aren't cheap. Paperwork stacked up like bricks, month after month. Court dates, negotiations, fees. By the end of it, I'd spent $238,000. Almost everything. Our life savings. Gone. But you know what? It worked. The lawyer was worth every penny. Charges reduced. No federal time. Ethan got 16 months in a state facility. Record sealed. Second chance. A real second chance. When Michael called to tell me, he was crying again. But this time, relief. Dad, you saved him. I remember hanging up and just sitting there. Kitchen quiet. Sun coming through the window. Helen making coffee. And for a second, I felt lighter than I had in years. Like all that saving finally had a purpose. Like this is what the money was for. Family. Always family. But that's when Michael said something else. Something that should have warned me. Dad, nobody can know about this. Not his brothers, not his sister, not Ethan's future employers. Nobody. If people find out, it follows him forever. He made me promise, and I did. Because that's what fathers do. Because protecting your family sometimes means staying quiet, even when quiet costs you everything. I just didn't know yet how expensive that promise was going to be. Helen passed 2 years later, just like that, Tuesday morning, making toast. Gone. Heart. No warning, no goodbye. 1 minute she was humming in the kitchen. Next minute I was riding in an ambulance that felt way too slow. 56 years of marriage, ended between breakfast and lunch. House felt different after that. Bigger, colder, too quiet. You ever notice how loud silence gets when the one person you love isn't there anymore? I'd catch myself talking to her chair, still setting out 2 cups of coffee. Stupid little habits. A few weeks after the funeral, the kids came over. All of them. Kitchen table meeting. Serious faces. Paperwork. Bank statements. That's what families do when someone dies. They look at numbers, try to organize things, make plans. And that's when they saw it. The savings account. Should have had close to $280,000. Instead, barely $40,000 left. I watched their faces change. Confusion first, then worry, then suspicion. Dad, where's the money? Such a simple question, but my chest felt tight. Michael was sitting right there, right across from me. He knew. He knew exactly where every dollar went. All he had to do was speak. Just one sentence. Dad helped Ethan. That's it. Everything would have made sense. Everything would have been fine. He stared at the table, didn't say a word, not one. And that silence hurt more than losing the money. I said it was personal expenses. Didn't explain, couldn't explain. I made a promise, and a promise is a promise. So they filled in the blanks themselves. Scams, phone fraud, old man losing it. Dad's confused. Dad probably got tricked. Dad shouldn't be handling finances anymore. I kept saying, I'm fine, my mind's fine. But once your kids start looking at you like you're fragile glass, it's over. They stopped asking. They started deciding. Power of attorney, just in case. Then, maybe Dad shouldn't live alone. Then, maybe somewhere with nurses, professional care. Professional care. That's a nice way to say it. Makes it sound gentle, like you're being helped. What it really means is, we don't have space for you anymore. None of them had room. Or maybe they just didn't want to make room. Michael? Big house, 2 guest bedrooms. But suddenly everything was complicated. He talked the most about safety. Funny, huh? The one I saved was the one most eager to put me somewhere else. I didn't fight. Didn't have the energy. Didn't want to be a burden. There's that word again. So they brought me here. Meadow Ridge Senior Living. Room 18. Single bed. Tiny closet. Window facing a parking lot. 15 steps from the nurse's station. I remember the first night. Boxes half unpacked. My whole life reduced to 1 suitcase and a photo album. I sat on the bed and thought, this can't be permanent. That was 5 years ago. Now it feels permanent. Michael visits twice a year. Quick visits, 10 minutes. Always in a rush. Never looks me in the eyes for long. Guilt's a heavy thing to carry. Linda calls sometimes. Birthday cards. Christmas cards. They mean well, they just don't know. And Ethan? Ethan comes once a year. Brings his wife. 2 little girls. They call me Grandpa Frank. Draw me pictures. Sit on my lap like he used to. He tells me about work. He's an electrician now. Good job. Honest life. Good man. I watch him laugh with his kids, and I think, yeah, worth it. All of it. Every dollar. Every lonely night. Worth it. He doesn't know what I paid. Doesn't know why I'm here. He thinks I just got old. Maybe that's better. Some truths only hurt people. I've got the bank records in my drawer. Lawyer receipts. Proof of everything. I could show the family tomorrow. Clear my name in 5 minutes. But his case number's on those papers. His past. And I didn't spend my life savings to protect him, just to expose him later. So the papers stay in the drawer, and I stay in room 18. I'm 90 years old now. Hands shake, knees ache, memories slower. But my mind? Clear as ever. I wasn't scammed. I wasn't confused. I made a choice. Same choice any grandfather would make. I chose my grandson. And if you ask me today, would I do it again? Knowing I'd lose the house, the money, my freedom, even my kids' respect? Yeah, I would. In a heartbeat. Because he's alive. He's free. His daughters get to grow up with their dad. That's worth more than numbers in a bank. I just wish Michael had spoken up. Just once. Just said, Dad saved us. That's all it would have taken. Not the money that hurts. It's the silence. Silence is what puts you in rooms like this. Silence is what makes you disappear while you're still breathing. But hey, I've lived a good life, loved a good woman, raised decent kids, saved a boy. Not a bad resume for 90 years. If this little room is the price, I guess I already paid it.